Welcome to Talking Heads, a Telum Media series where we speak with company leaders for their insights into business, communications, and leadership. Joining us today is Nicky Wang, Chief Executive Officer of We Redbridge.
Thank you for having me.
You co-founded Redbridge in 2009 before it was acquired by We in 2018. Looking back, what are some challenges that have helped you become the leader you are today?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think one thing obviously about challenges, you have, when you start a business, you have challenges at different stages of your business, right? When you're small, you really are getting clients to sign up. You're trying to keep the lights on, you're looking for, attracting the right talent. When you're a little bit sort of, when you get to a certain size, then, you're looking at infrastructure upgrade, which is going to take a toll on your bottom line, so on and so forth. And in post-acquisition has post-acquisition challenges, which is, integrating the two cultures, two agencies, essentially. And I think the key to me doesn't just lie in the challenges, but how you grow through these challenges. And this is where I really want to get to today, having sort of I would say maybe three primary points. Number one is having the confidence in yourself, because when you are small, you don't have the credentials. When we started up, we didn't have a robust credentials. We didn't have a client roster. We didn't have fancy offices. In fact, we were in a co-working space where the office size is one of our meeting rooms today. And how do you recruit next level talent that can take your business to the next level is really, really critical. So being able to sell yourself and having confidence in yourself and your abilities to take the business and your team to the next level is absolutely critical. And as the company becomes bigger, you naturally will be able to be in a better place to get bigger clients, to attract better talent. But I think overall, we still kind of go back to our core in terms of having that confidence of our core leadership team, because we're always looking for that next level of talent, right? We're never really happy of where we are at this current level. We always want to push the boundaries, and we need the best people in our agency to help us do that. So again, sort of, having that confidence in the overall leadership team, selling your capabilities is really, really key. So I would say that's number one. Number two is having a game plan, but focus on one problem at a time. And I think, particularly sort of growing a business from scratch, yes, you will have a multi-year plan. You'll be like, okay, I want to sell at this point. I want to get to a certain size at this point. It can be quite overwhelming in terms of how many things you want to do and how many problems to solve. So, to me, when times get rough and, when things go wrong, they go wrong all at the same time, right? And then they can really knock you out. And it's really, really important to always not get too overwhelmed and go back to what you can fix. So focus on one thing at a time, get it right, and then move on to the next thing rather than being caught up in everything that you are trying to fix. I think taking baby steps to me is really, really helpful rather than trying to solve everything at once. The third point I want to make is, being resilient. Recently, actually, I was invited to hear a very wise leader talking about resilience, and then he quoted his Professor Martin Solomon, and I'm going to quote him as well. And Professor Solomon is a psychiatrist, and he basically studied resilient people and said that people who are resilient, and this is his quote, know what they're going through is not personal, it's not permanent, and it's not pervasive of all areas of life. And I think it's just so true. And looking back and reflecting on what we've gone through, sort of taking the agency to the next level through acquisition, through integration, and now leading it to the new sort of China, and being resilient is absolutely, absolutely key. You need to really understand what you're going through. It's not because of you as a person, who you are, right? The tough times are not permanent. All things will pass, and it's not pervasive of all areas of your life. For most people, what we're dealing with right now is probably not significant in the grand scheme of things. So, and I would say that's resilience it's a soft skill. It can be acquired, and I do think a resilient team. If you have a resilient leader, you will be able to lead a resilient team, and having a resilient team will weather many storms and still come out on top. So I would say these are the three things that I think is really, really key through all of the challenges that I've learned is critical. for running your own business.
As a sought-after expert on marketing and communications, would you say that the two are more different or similar?
You can definitely argue that, the technicality of these two fields have many differences, but the reality is the line has really blurred. Without effective communications, your marketing plans will not have any impact, right? And a good comms program rarely will exist without a broader and clear marketing vision. So, the way we really consult our clients, I would say it never really starts from what we do. It's always why we need to do what we do. So we always think holistically, what do we need to achieve? What does the client want to get to, right? From A to B, what does that look like? Before we really dive into some of the marketing and comms tactics that we would then implement.
Are we moving increasingly towards an integrated approach to both?
Yes, I mean, again, sort of integrated approach, integrated thinking, I think is a approach, right? Not every single campaign needs to be fully integrated, but you always like the way we service our clients, we always start from the top with a bird's eye view, right? We need to understand holistically what the problems are and what challenges we're trying to solve before zooming to the specifics. The reason why we really are very sort of insistent on doing that is twofold. One is in this day and age, I think our audiences are not just on singular platforms. They get influenced by multiple sources. They make purchases across different platforms. You simply cannot start your plan by separating your efforts, right? Such as PR or social, digital campaigns, so on and so forth. So you really need to think sort of holistically. To me, it's a necessity, right, to think holistically and think integrated. To this end, we oftentimes we find ourselves in better and stronger partnerships with clients that actually trust us with integrated scope rather than singular scope, so that they enable us, our clients also enable us to think bigger picture and long term. And then at the same time, having that bigger picture thinking also works really, really well for our teams. Like marketing agencies have a lot of deliverables. It's very easy for us to get really deep into the weeds, right? And it's very easy for the team to lose sight on the purpose of their work. It's always beneficial when you can show them how their efforts kind of fit into a larger context, how it solves a larger marketing problems. When the team members have that broader understanding, they always will find ways to work together towards a bigger goal. So you can, in that process, you can make the work more meaningful and more memorable and more fun as well. So, and this is all what I always say, we need, at the end of the day, we need to be having fun.
What are some of your favorite trends and innovations that have emerged from mainland China's PR landscape?
I think China has now evolved into this, platform-led economy. So I think if you know China market well, it's very predominantly like the innovation comes from these platforms, and these platforms are where people consume information, make purchases, they network, they social, right? They do a lot of things on these platforms. And these guys are pushing the boundary of the whole marketing industry, I would say, to constantly having to adapt and innovate their practices. So with the rise of these platforms, is really the fragmentation of media. So previously we had media, we do media relations, communications professionals do media relations. Now we have traditional media, we have new media, we have independent media. In Chinese, we call it 自媒体. We have key opinion professionals, we have key opinion influencers, we have key opinion consumers, right? They're all media channels that are really, really relevant sort of in any PR program today. So because of this complexity, I would say sort of this is very prevalent in China, like the influencer marketing industry, I think in China, it's not only vast, but it's also highly sophisticated. So we started doing really comprehensive influencer marketing many, many years ago. This is not new right now. Not only do we have different tiers of influencer network, or sort of the so-called original sort of creators of each platform, we even have virtual influencers. That's become quite a common PR strategy. So I would say influencer marketing is definitely something that is very uniquely sort of can be owned in China at a very early stage. The other thing would be, I would say, innovation that is related to big data and AI. I would say using AI-driven analytics tools for sort of media monitoring, sentiment analysis, using AI to enhance the process of idea generation. I'm quite confident that with the advancement of the AI technology in China, the PR industry here will lead many more exciting innovations in this area in the years to come as well.
Where do you see the future of communications in Greater China?
Number one, I think definitely more need for localization. Whether you are for or against globalization, the reality coming out of post-COVID is that we are in a world where countries and nations are becoming more inwardly focused, right? So the ripple effect of that on the general public in China is that consumers are increasingly focusing on what is happening around them. Our outbound travel data right now is still just at 50% of 2019 level. So this again goes to show that not a lot of sort of exchanges, communications, and experiences of sort of cross-cultural context. And this shift towards localization, I think, will continue on. So making sure your communications messaging can hit local relevance is absolutely critical. The other area I would say, definitely, again, going back to the technological innovation, future of communications will definitely be heavily influenced by technological advancements, such as AI we talked about, but also 5G, so on and so forth. We can expect more sophisticated, digital innovation, faster data analytics, and also more, I would say, precise targeting when it comes to communications and marketing in China in general. And I think the last thing is more the rising importance of ESG. We actually have recently done a proprietary study called Brand Emotion, and we found out that ESG is becoming increasingly relevant for businesses looking to build an edge. So, this whole field is still in an infancy in China, but we're seeing very clear indicators that this is an area that will be getting increasing attention from both consumers as well as B2B stakeholders. So getting your corporate ESG narrative right, I would say, will become a baseline for businesses looking to expand in this market.
I think this is a great segue to our next question. Earlier, you mentioned about you're observing more demand for localization. Consumers are focusing more on what's around them. So my next question is, do you have any communications, marketing, or branding advice for businesses trying to enter the Greater China market or Chinese brands looking to venture overseas?
That's $1 million question. So at the very core, I think I really believe at this day and age, it is really about balancing global narrative and localization. We spoke about sort of nations becoming more inwardly focused. This has been a huge challenge for global brands looking to grow in very specific local markets. Being consistent about who you are and staying true to your global identity obviously is a must. But brands are also challenged to adapt to local market needs, right? Address local aspirations, local concerns, and to utilize local partners. And China on this level is going pretty extreme in terms of the level of localization that is required to ensure your marketing campaigns cut through. So I would say, all in all, finding the right balance between global and local narrative, and then identifying the right local tactics to support that bigger global storytelling is key.
Any upcoming plans at WeRedBridge that you can share?
Yes, for us, one of our major focuses in the coming year is ESG. We're in fact launching that proprietary study I just talked about, Brand Emotion, that interrogates the importance of ESG initiatives for B2B businesses in China. So we have some really exciting discoveries through data and insights collected from over 300 marketeers. And within the report, we have very clear sort of directions and counsels for businesses around how to effectively communicate your ESG strategies to your business stakeholders in China. So that's very exciting and it's coming up. We're also expanding our strategic consulting capability, particularly targeting the high growth sectors such as luxury, travel, tech, and healthcare. So this expansion is fueled by an increasing number of our clients really looking at reallocating budgets back into China with big ambitions for 2024. So we're very confident that expanding our high level sort of consulting capacity will make sure that we're well positioned to better serve our clients' evolving needs. Yeah.
Nicky, thank you for sharing your insights with Telum Media.
Thank you. Thank you, George.